Alright guys, hello and welcome back to another episode of basic game development or intro to game development with the Griffin Initiative. I am the Griffin Initiative, also my name is Josh. You guys will be hearing me called that a lot in collaborations here on this channel. Those will be happening very soon, hopefully in the next couple months. I'm going to be developing a video game with a bunch of friends if all that works out. But today's topic is how to start your game development journey and your first video game. So, this is what I typically do when I go through making my own video games. Of course, as being a student, I have to rapidly prototype video games constantly. And right now, I'm actually only using Unity, and I'm actually making the change over to Unreal to try and learn and expand my understanding and knowledge of game development. So here are my top 10 practices for making a game quickly. So number one, you want to figure out what type of game do you want to make. Do you want to make a first-person game? Do you want to make a third-person? Do you want to make a side-scroller? Do you want to make something like Mario? Do you want to make something like Doom? Do you want to make something like Minecraft? It's little concepts of like first-person, third-person, second-person, or third-person over the shoulder. Top down, a lot of different genres that we can totally do bigger videos on if you guys really want to. The next thing I have is, if you've ever started game development, like for example for me, when I first started, my very first game I ever started was a world building. This is a huge scope, by the way, and scope is like how massive the game is, like how big it can really be. My very first game that I ever wanted to build was essentially a game like 7 Days to Die. That game people say is a dumpster fire. To me, it's a game that says Minecraft did it right, but let me put a twist on it. That's what that game tells me. So I wanted to take that game and put another twist on it. Say, okay, well, you have the zombies, you have all the hunger and water systems, you have the stat system, you have inventory, you have all these different things. What if you were to take all that and add together in it like RPG elements like Skyrim, like a serious story of just different quests, kind of like Walking Dead. That's essentially what I wanted to do, was Walking Dead. So, I started coding it, and my very first thing was player movement, just to get will this be fun? Will the movement be fun? I didn't even make it past that because the scope was so big. I started working on player movement, and then started working on an inventory, started working on a stat system, all at the same time. The code ended up getting really jumbled into one class, and again, this was my very first time ever using Unity and using C Sharp, and it just didn't work. So, my very first, I guess, a piece of advice in this video, and there will be a lot of pieces of advice, is to think about what you're going to do and make sure that it's small. Like, the scale needs to be, instead of it being like a whole world, make it small. Make it like, I want to get this player from point A to point B and add some obstacles, and then add more obstacles, and then more obstacles. That would be Mario. In essence, it's a game where you start from point A and you have to go to point B, and you have to jump over things, and you have to avoid things. That's it. That's the game. And then you have other mechanics that, that's the highest high level there is. The lowest low level is you're playing as Mario, trying to save this princess, and you have multiple different types of blocks. There's some blocks that you can break, there's some blocks that you can't break, and it goes on and on and on and on. So this brings me into my next piece of advice. Advice number 3 is basically document. The very first thing, if it's your player movement, I highly recommend that's always player movement. Should be. Because if you don't make a prototype and you test it with people, you'll never know if it's worth making. Now, I've made a few games myself where I decided not to release them because I tested it with my roommate, I tested it with a bunch of friends, and they were brutally honest with me. My games sucked. They weren't fun. They were annoying. The systems in them worked great, but they worked against each other instead of with each other. It was destructive instead of constructive. Make a game that's constructive. Make a game that's fun. That's the whole goal of the game industry, is to make fun games. So documentation will keep you organized, keep you with a goal in mind. Make sure that you remember to document, because if you never document, you're never going to do well. And this is where I want to introduce two programs. One of them is called ClickUp, and the other one is called Trello. They do very similar things, but rapidly different ways of showing you your goals. The reason why I like ClickUp a little bit more than Trello is because I've used it longer, and I know how to use it. And I've only used this like more than 5 months or so, and Trello's I've used for 3, and I'm using both of them, and I get mixed up. But I like ClickUp because it's simple. You get to drag and drop stuff. Same with Trello, but Trello has it so that you can create boards fast, whereas ClickUp you actually have to scale it and basically make a skeleton and a drop down bar and all these different bars, and do these goals have pre-goals and prerequisites to those goals and prerequisites to those goals, and it just becomes basically a spider web. You're better off at that point, in my opinion, to get a whiteboard. And that's my fourth piece of advice. Get a whiteboard. I don't care how much money you have in your bank account right now. Even if you have $30, go out there, buy a $10 whiteboard. Seriously, it's worth the investment. I can't even tell you how many school projects I've worked on and done well with a whiteboard. So get a whiteboard. You can put up your ideas. You can basically draw out your inventory, draw out all your systems. You can make a code tree, is what I like to call it, tree of operations, how everything functions and infects each other, and it's really cool. I love doing that. So my next piece of advice for this video is essentially, once you finish your documentation for that system, you can either start development on that system, or you can continue documentation on a new one. So one thing that I do is I'll always document everything, and even documenting your code is huge. Like, if a fellow programmer goes in and has no idea what you're doing and doesn't understand a single thing, like if all your variables are named like Link, Zelda, Dragon 1, sunglasses, nobody knows what that does. Like, sunglasses could be adding items to an inventory. Who the hell knows? And that's the issue. You need to have a way of saying, this is what this does. And when you start development, you need to keep it organized. I can't stress that enough. I'm a tutor. I'm a peer tutor. I see so many people just not document their code. So when I go in and I try to read it, I have to read every single line of code. And that's where this next piece of advice comes in. If you can't read your own code, redo it. Seriously, you need to redo your code. Either that, or you need to put it up on a whiteboard and start commenting your code better. That is simple as that. Alright, suggestion number 7. Make a very fast prototype. And I mean fast. And if you got yourself into a little hole of I got no creativity right now, either play a video game that's creative, like Minecraft, build something, and then you could be like, oh my god, I feel like, oh wow, I can finally design new things. Go for it. Pick up 3ds Max. There's a free trial version. I think it's 30 days long. Try that. There's a bunch of other things that you could try too. And honestly, just try things. Talk to people. Get curious, talk to people, try things. That is a motto that I've come to live by in the last 5 months. So, last but not least, I know this is only number 8, but I'm trying to keep this video within 11 minutes, so 1 minute for final. So last but not least, the very last, suggestion I will give you tonight, or today, is when you start developing your game, if you don't know anything, join a Discord server of people. Go join a Bracky server. Go join Blackthorn Prod server. And then talk to people in there, because you never know who you're going to meet. Because I've met some amazing people. I've also met not so amazing people. I met some people who I can't wait to make a video game with. And then I've met people who, yeah, I will be like, I'll help you with it, but that'd be about it. So there's been a lot of, talk at my school of, do you need higher education for this? As a student who's in this degree, no, you don't. It definitely sets you apart from everybody, but you don't need a degree in this. You really don't need a degree to make video games. You could be a high school dropout. You can go out and make a great video game. But here's the difference between a college student and a high school dropout. The college student has a piece of paper that says this person is now certified that he can learn fast. Within 4 years, he's learned all these different things from scratch. Now that this person has knowledge, this person can probably learn a hell of a lot more at a faster rate than maybe someone who taught themselves. And I'm just saying this is all hypothetical. But college does give you that paper saying, this sets him out from the rest of this crowd, or her out from the rest of the crowd, okay? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Part 2, maybe? Will come out eventually. This video was shot before any of the shots that you're seeing right now. Of development, those shots are going to be taken through from tonight through tomorrow through the next day of just development, messing around, maybe even a few live streams that I'm going to do. Might actually end up doing one tonight of just a pregame live stream just to kind of say like, hey, I'm back, I'm ready to go. I might be live streaming me making a material, not sure yet, we'll have to see. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, please, and hit that bell. That bell helps me a lot, and it helps you too, because then you can stay updated to the next great piece of content that I can put out. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day and or night wherever you are. I'll see you guys later. This is the Griffin Initiative. Have a wonderful day.